Hi, welcome to houseimprovements.com. I'm Shannon, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to vent your over-the-range microwave to the exterior of your house. We have another video already that's quite popular where we showed how to install one of these microwaves, but in that video we just used that microwave to recirculate the air through the filters back into the home. So in this one we're going to actually vent the microwave out the wall back there to the exterior. So we're not going to concentrate quite as much in this video about the actual install of the actual microwave itself, but more about the venting and how to go about getting it to work. There's a few different ways of doing it. In these microwaves, they're basically going to have a venting area. This is the fan up here on the back. These are all pretty well the same. So you have options of recirculating the air like we did in our first video, which comes out the top of the microwave here, and it's just filtered back into the house. You have the option of venting up through the bottom of the cabinet above and then out the ceiling or out the wall. Or, and you can't see it right now, but you also have the option of venting straight out the back and out the wall, which is the option we're going to use on this one. So for all those different options, read your instructions, because the fan here will have to be removed and repositioned according to how you're going to vent it. Okay, so again, this video is not so much about that as much as how to actually vent it. On the microwave, no matter which, well, for any of the options where you're venting outside, you're going to have a damper that's going to hook to the microwave in different positions depending which way you're going. In our example, we're venting to the outside, so this is the vent you're going to see outside the home, on the outside of the siding. There's a little damper right here that's got a spring on it to keep it closed so it doesn't rattle in the wind. So this is the vent we're installing. It's rectangular. When we put the microwave in place, this damper here on the back of the microwave will line up with this existing, or with this ductwork that we're going to put in through the wall. So you'll notice that this is quite deep here. I don't know what it measures, maybe 10 inches I'm going to guess. Obviously they've just got a little extra length there depending on the situation you have. I'm going to have to cut this down much narrower. We've got, I believe this will be a 2x4 wall. I don't know how many different layers there might be, so I haven't cut this down yet until we get the hole open and I can measure it. I think that's the basics of kind of what we're going to do. Now in our scenario, you're going to see here in a few minutes, we've actually got probably worst case scenario. Okay, so when you purchase one of these microwaves, it's going to come with a couple of different templates. So first off, I've already removed the cabinet that was above here. I've taken it down because, and you may not have to do that in your case, I do. So you're going to have two templates. One's going to be to mark out the wall for the location of your mounting bracket, which is this. This is basically what the microwave hangs on that gets attached to the wall. So this one will show you that, and it'll show you the rear wall cutout. Okay. Now there's another template that goes on the bottom of your upper cabinet, and it shows the mounting holes for the top of the microwave, and if you're having to cut out for venting up through the cabinet and out the ceiling, there's a spot just like this on that template as well. Okay, so like I said, I've already taken the upper cabinet down. I see here that they mounted the electrical obviously too low originally. This line right here would have been is the bottom of the upper cabinet, so they had to hack this out and move that up. So that's why you see a much bigger hole there than there should be. I've got the power turned off here. As I mentioned before, we've kind of got the worst case scenario, because there's actually, this is where our hole is going to go directly out the wall, and right here is a stud in the wall. So it's right in our opening. Really couldn't be in a worse spot, to be quite honest, being in this here. So we had a couple options. I could have vented up through the cabinet with a different kind of boot and put an elbow on and moved it over and went over here. But by the time I did all that, I basically take up at least half of the upper cabinet here, and you lose that storage space. So I decided to stick with the original plan and go straight out the wall. And it's a good opportunity for me to show you what's involved in having to deal with that 2x4. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut out this square or this rectangle out of the drywall where the duct on the back of the microwave is going to go. So that's the first thing. Then I can get this template out of the way. I've already marked and drilled my holes down here, so that's fine. I'm going to cut that drywall and then we'll get that template out of the way and proceed. So when you're doing this, I'm going to use an oscillating saw. I'm not sure, you know, you might just want to use even like a utility knife or some other kind of saw, but whatever you use, just be careful not to go through and cut a wire or cut, maybe there's some plumbing, hopefully there's never any plumbing back there, but you just don't want to go too deep and end up cutting through something else that you don't know is there. Okay, so I can remove my template now. I'm done with that. There's my rectangle of drywall. Get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a poly vapor barrier here. So that's this part right here. And you can see there's some old insulation. This is a, I think, 1940s house or 50s house. So I've got the old paper faced insulation on this side, and I've got some newer Roxol type insulation on this side here. Okay, so you can see there's the vapor box here that was originally put in by an electrician or whoever did it. There's our 2x4 right here that's in the way. We want to go straight out. There's going to be a wire right here, right there, that's in the way. So what I need to do is I want to cut that out, but I need to restructure to pick up any load that might be carrying. Now I know in this house there really isn't much load on it. In your home there might be, so you might have to actually put a double 2x4 or 2x6 header in here. I'm just going to put a 2x4 on the flat, and you'll see me do all that. But in order to do that, I need to have better access to what I'm doing here. So I am going to cut more of this drywall out. I'll probably come down around here somewhere and up in here like this, just so I can have better access, and we'll just pop that back in later. Nobody's going to see it when we're done, so I'm not going to get too particular with it. So I'll just kind of quickly cut that out of there, and then we can keep moving. Okay, so this piece, luckily it came out without breaking it, so we'll be able to reuse it. So now we can see better what we have. Get rid of this one drywall screw. I guess there's two, there's one at the very top too. Okay, so, you know the one thing I didn't do, I can tell, I forgot to mark on here where my cuts are, but with this paper still there I can see where it is, so I'm just going to make a mark with this so I can see for reference after. Okay, and I'm just going to I'm going to cut this insulation here off and pull it out of the way. So and there's a cut already down there, so I'll just pull that out. So we're starting to be able to see more what we've got going on. So in the end, what I'm going to end up doing is moving this plug in over here to get it completely out of our way. And then we can get this hole cut and everything to make it work, make all this work. ugly stuff. Okay, that I'm gonna get a garbage bag and get rid of right away. Okay, so I got my insulation out of the way, and then while I was off camera, I undid the electrical that was up in here, and I slid my box up a little bit higher. You know, your situation may not be exactly like this. I also cut my framing. So basically what I'm gonna have is I need to put this in the wall. So it's got to fit in there. Okay, so I pre-cut my pieces, and with any luck at all they'll maybe fit, but I first got to cut this out of the way. So I have a score mark here from where I cut the notch out of the face of the drywall for the rectangle for the vent. So that gives me a bit of a guideline, and I measured down. I actually measured, what did I measure? 1 5/8 inches, just to give myself a little bit of room. 1 5/8 inches up here. And I'm gonna cut this chunk out right here so that my framing can go in place there. So I'm gonna use the oscillating saw. You might wanna use a combination of circular saw, jigsaw, whatever you have. But okay, so I've got some nails here coming through, so I've got to cut those off. I might be able to just get them to break off maybe. Okay, so I got those to break off. Now we'll see if we can get the framing kind of in here roughly. That one's a little looser, so that's good. I'm gonna feed my wire around. I pre-drilled some holes in these horizontal 2x4s. Now luckily there was enough wire to do this, or that would have been a whole other big process. And we'll just get it up in this vapor box here for now. Okay. I'm just making sure that all this stuff's gonna fit. Okay, we're gonna nail that bottom one in. Now I got it so tight I can't get this over where I want it. Come on. Okay, so we've got the basic stuff in there. I'll just tack in the rest of this. Okay, so we've got our basic framing in there. Now the big thing is to cut through that wall and to the outside. So I know that my vent here, this is what has to fit through that hole. So I'm going to just measure this out and mark it on the inside here and then cut out. This box here that I made is a little bit bigger just so I had a little bit of wiggle room. You can, I don't know if you can really see from where the camera is, but I've got probably a 1/2 inch all the way around that this vent. So I'll just measure that out and then cut that out. Okay, so I've marked out where I want to cut there, and the cameraman made a good point while we were off. I had the camera off. There's a pretty good lip on this vent anyways, check yours. So I've got some room for air there. I'm hoping my hole will be about a 1/4 inch bigger than what this actual measurement is here. So that'll give me a little bit of room to jostle it around there if I have to. And I can always fine tune that from the outside if I need to, if I find it isn't lining up. Okay, so another important thing, I guess, before you even start all this, obviously make sure there's nothing on the outside that's going to impede you cutting this. It was bad enough we had to cut around that stud, let alone if there's maybe your mast for your power electrical or something's out there. So just be sure that everything on the outside is okay too. So we've got 3/4 inch wood here, and then we've got like an X90 masonite type siding on the outside. So I'm going to cut through all of that. Okay, so we've got our hole right to the outside there, as you can obviously see. I'm gonna just get my vacuum and clean this up, and then we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So now we're at the stage, we've got our wire all ran. I threw the box in off camera, just got the wires into it. I put a new, I don't remember in the last scene if I had this new vapor box in there. The other one, they had destroyed it, so I at least put a new box in here. So I'm at the stage now, I want to re-insulate, try to get a piece of poly in there and sealed up for vapor barrier as best I can. It's kind of a tough thing to do because when you cut into the wall like this, you don't have much to work with, but I'm going to try to do the best I can to get a piece of poly in there, screw that chunk of drywall back on, and then I can put the bracket on and stuff after and get the cabinet back in and hang the microwave. And then we can go outside and put the vent in. So we might speed this up. But anyways, I'm going to start with some insulation. Forget it. Okay, so we got the wall all patched up there. Now what I want to do next is I'm going to have the cameraman go outside and stick this vent hood through the wall and hold it there, and then I'll trace the inside so we get the length of it so that I can cut it off. And that way, you know, I can cut that off to length and hopefully we're close. If anything, I want it to be a bit long because I can always trim it at a later point. So as you notice, we've got the cabinet hanging here now. I've put the bottom bracket on. Everything's drilled in this cabinet for toggle bolts. I'll have to fix up where that plug-in is there because I raised it up, but I can do that at a later date. Just refer to our other video. We've got a link in the description just below this video. The other video goes more into depth of mounting the microwave and everything. So now I've got the vent here, so I'm just going to try to trace myself out. I can't get the top, I guess, because of the cabinet in there. Okay. And then I can cut that all off. So like I was saying, I've got the drywall in. I've got the tape. I ended up having to seal the tape to the face of the drywall on the 3 sides. That's the only thing I could really do. I couldn't get it tucked in behind there. In this case, none of this is seen, so really, who cares? I guess if you're really picky and you want to make sure your wall's clean behind the microwave, then you're not going to like that and you'll figure out a different way, but that's how I did it. So all I'm going to do with this, and I won't do it on camera, but I'm just going to use aviation snips, and you can see now, can you pick up on that? We've got the marker line around here. I could only do 3 sides. I'll use a straight edge across the top and I'll cut that off before we go to stick it in. Before we do any of that though, we need to get the microwave hanging up. So I'll just quickly go over this because it's a little different than on the other video because the other one we didn't vent. So there'll be some screws holding this top plate on somehow. Where's my little bar? Usually that just pops right off. Oh, here we go. Slides or something. There, that one slides off. Okay, so we'll set that to the side. And there's going to be a screw holding this fan housing in. Right now, this one, they usually come set up for recirculation. So if you're, just read your instructions, but most times you don't have to change the fan if you're just recirculating. So there's our fan unit. I'm just going to set that out of the way. And because we're blowing, we're going to change it to blow straight out the back wall. I need to take out these little covers or fillers or whatever you want to call them. Usually you can just use some side cutters. Cut that. Get rid of those. Oh, baby, there we go. Now, so we pulled our motor straight up. Watch your wire here. See how that wire was fit into there? We need to spin this and fit it in the other way. We need, in our case, it to be blowing the exact opposite that it was. Lower it back in there. We should be able to pop that screw back in. And at this point, if you wanted to, and whatever, you could plug the microwave in and just test that, but I've never come across one that didn't work. Let's see now, I think I want to put this in next. Probably handy if I read the instructions, but I don't do these every day. And then I think this goes on. No, opposite procedure. This goes on, there's a little tab here that's got to snap into that. And then this goes in there. It just slides in like that. There's no screws that hold that in. But there is 3 screws on the top here to hold that plate back on. Stick that baby on. Now, something I like to do is I want to run some tape around this, so I use this foil tape. You'll usually find that anywhere that sells like galvanized ducting and that sort of thing, plumbing and heating area. So I just want to seal that to the microwave body. Just to make it a little more airtight. Make sure as much is going outside as humanly possible. This is the trickiest part of this stuff, is getting the backing peeled off. When your eyes are getting old like mine, it's even harder. Because I just about need somebody else to hold it over there so I can see what I'm doing. Or put my glasses on, and you don't want to see that. Okay, so I'm just lapping that tape onto that metal rim there of the damper. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. So we'll get this all taped up, because it is really hot today. And I don't know about the camera guy, but I am cooking and I am ready to be done this project. I think I bet you it's close to 30 degrees in here. That's Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, like 80? 80-ish? Okay, apparently it's 84 in here Fahrenheit. So that's, I'm sure, over 30. That's like 32. And it's humid today. And this tape is not cooperating. Okay, so we've got that sealed up. Then also what I like to do is put this, it's a foam tape that compresses and expands quite a bit. What's this one? This one goes from down to a 1/4 inch it'll compress to, and it'll expand up to 1 inch. So I like to put that right around here. So then when I take this microwave over here, get it on the bracket and flip it up to the wall, it makes a seal, as good of a seal as we can anyways around here. In fact, I actually might put it on the wall. Yeah, I think I might stick it on the wall. That might even be better. Usually I stick it on there, but let's try something different today. See if it works or not. So what this does is because what happens is this just lines up to there, right? If I can get it on there. And it's not like a super tight fit, so you get some space there. So that foam tape just helps kind of seal that up even better. And because it expands kind of to what it needs to do to fill the space, you don't have to worry if you got a little variation or anything. So it just comes in a roll. If you don't do this, it's not the end of the world, but so I'm going to go around 15 inches. That'll be plenty long. My knife blade is really getting dull. But you can see just from me squeezing that to cut it, how much it indented, and it's already starting to spring back because there's no resistance now with my finger off of it. It's pretty good stuff. I don't know what brand this was. You might have noticed when I had it flipped around. They didn't send it to me or anything. I just buy whatever's on the shelf. So that was weird. The backing came off of that. There we go. Yeah, I think that'll work out all right, sticking it right on there. I think I'm really going to have to get a different blade. So if you want to check out our Patreon, make a donation, then I can put some new blades in my knife. That's just a joke. But really, you can check out our Patreon. There will be a link in the description as well. We try to do that in every video. It's just kind of a little way you can leave us a tip if you want to help us keep producing these videos. Okay, so we got our foam tape all put around this whole side. I kind of narrowed this one up a little bit so that it would fit up there better. We've got our mounting bracket on the wall, and it's got these little tabs on that correspond to little grooves on the bottom side back edge of the microwave. So once I lift that up there and get it hooked on there, it kind of holds the weight. Then I can pivot it and drop these bolts into the top. Get the cord in place. So I think I'm ready to go. This is easier with 2 people, but 1 person can do it. Watch me mess it up terribly here because I said that. There, looks good. Let's see what we can do. So the trick is getting it on that bracket. Okay, I've got it on the bracket. Now I've got to feed the cord up through this hole. Now you didn't see me drill all these holes because we did it off camera, but if you watch the other video, I explain that better there using the templates and drilling the holes. But you basically got to get the cord started up in there, and then you can pivot the microwave up into place, drop these upper super long screws in. I don't know why they have to be so long, honestly. Now if you're not super in-depth at using a drill or a impact driver, I wouldn't recommend using that to start your screws. I always like to start something like this by hand, and then I get a better feel for making sure I didn't cross thread it or anything goofy like that. It's spinning nicely there. I've got it started. Now I can use my drill. Oops. Come on. These ones are so far out to the outside, it's hard to get at them. Okay, you don't want to super tighten that up with a driver like that. Go to a hand screwdriver so you don't strip them out or anything. Just snug them up. Okay, that feels pretty good. I'll have to adjust this door because it's actually rubbing. It might be just clearing. Okay, so we got that hanging. It's all in there. I'm going to go turn the breaker on for the power so we can just test it, and then we can go outside and get the other vent in. Okay, so I've got the power on. With any luck at all, I can plug that in. Oh, we got noises. Something worked. Okay, so we got air moving. I don't want to turn the microwave on because I got nothing in there, but just making sure it's working. We got some lights going. We should be good. So that's kind of the basics on the inside. Like I said, this door is just barely getting by there. So I might have to just adjust those doors up a little bit just to give a little extra room. How's it look? That looks all right. We weren't, before anybody comments, we weren't given this sponsored by anybody. This microwave was purchased by the homeowner and installed by me with no intent to advertise the brand. We'll just get that out of the way, like always. Okay, so we're gonna go outside. Oh, I'm gonna cut this vent off, then I'm gonna go outside and get that sucker in there, and we're almost done. Okay, so here we are outside now. And if you zoom in a little bit, you can see the different layers of the opening we have here. We've got our siding, our 3/4 inch sheeting that this house has because of its age, framing, drywall, and then that's the back side of our microwave, and that's the damper that you watched me put on. Okay, so now basically all I need to do is get this vent in position and lined up, and if I open up the damper underneath here, I can see inside and I can actually get my hand right in there. You just need to fine tune the position a little bit because this vent fits around the outside of that damper that we put on. There we go. That looks good. So we got it there, and I want to get it level. Everything's way too far away from me. Just tweak this a little bit. Get it level. And I don't know why these vents don't come with a screw hole in them. on the outside for mounting it, but I already pre-drilled some holes. And just one in each corner is all you need. I know that I moved it, so I'm going to double check the level. Moved inside too. Okay, just make sure it all closes properly. It isn't hung up or anything. It's got that spring on there to pull it closed. So now I'll just use an exterior grade caulking and I'll go around here nice and neat. I don't usually do the bottom. That way if any moisture gets in there, it can still come out on the bottom edge. Okay, so I'll go around and do that, and then we'll do a wrap up. Okay, so that's a wrap. I know this video was a little long, but it gives you a really good look at what you've got to do if you've got a situation like we did where there's some framing in the way and electrical and everything else. And it's a good thing to have watched if you're just considering whether you should vent your microwave or not. You might want to look and see if you've got some framing there, and you know, figure out what route you want to take before you get right into it and got the wall ripped open and you aren't sure where to go. So anyways, I appreciate that you watched, and you can check out the link, as I've mentioned a few times, to our other how to install a microwave video. It gets more in depth. It's a shorter video, but it gets more in depth on the actual just installing the microwave. So you can watch that. We've got a description or a link in the description down below. And also we've got a few different ways you can help support our channel if you want to, and we've got a link down below as well for that. So appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video.